here. Before we get into that, I want to give an opportunity. I don't get to talk to everyone all the time, and I want to hear how your businesses are winning, how you're winning. Are there any wins that you guys can share? Just thinking about your week, thinking about what's going on. You're like, man, I'm really glad this is happening, or this was a really cool thing. It could be anything at all. Can I get anyone to share a win?
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
I knew it. That's tip in sales, okay? You just stay silent, and the customer will talk. We're going to talk about that actually today. Okay, go ahead, Jacob. Thank you, man.
Yeah, so fortunately for us, we just had a couple major contracts signed with one of our clients we've been working with for probably the last 6 to 8 months, and it's bringing in probably another two, at least another 2 months of steady workflow for my guys. So, it's, think things are, especially in our industry, in the HVAC industry, things get kind of slow around this time of the year. So, it's really going to be helpful to especially make payroll. So
That's awesome, dude. That is a huge win. It must be a relief off your shoulders a little bit.
big time.
It, and here's the cool thing about that, because like, dude, I get it. HVAC slow season, like it's a thing. Like I get it. The cool thing about that, and something I want to tell everybody, is because you have that 2 months, okay, that should keep you busy maybe through what, the end of the year, it sounds like, maybe into January.
Yeah, yeah, it should keep us busy up until January, if not February. So and
Okay.
it allows us to sort of plan for the next stage.
Yes, that's awesome. Here's something I want to encourage you to do. If it makes sense, okay? A lot of businesses go through this like feast and famine, right? We like get the big job, we're so excited, we're all busy working on that job. As an owner, you're busy managing the team, managing the customer, and then like that job comes to an end, and you're like, it's February, busy season doesn't really get started until 2.5 or 3 months from now. What's my next thing? Use this time to secure those next contracts as well. Like it's awesome. You got a perfect opportunity to do it. But that's awesome to hear, Jacob. And where are you based in, Jacob?
Southern California.
Okay, man. Are you a USC fan by chance?
Nah, more UCLA.
Okay, thank God. Okay, we're like Oklahoma OU people here, so we're a little bit bitter about USC. I was glad to see Oregon beat them, but I still feel like with Lincoln Riley, they're a force to be reckoned with. Okay, any other wins? Any other wins we got here today? Any other cool things? Appreciate you sharing, Jacob. I feel like I like go and volunteer at an organization here in town with some teenagers that are having a hard time. Um, and I try to get them to share. And one technique I use is like, I'll give you guys a snack next time if you guys share that. So if anyone shares, I'll give you guys a snack next time you're here. Any other wins though? I'm not going to press this. Any other wins?
Well, I see Diego is dropping off his kids, or I would be calling him out because he sent me a text
Oh
yesterday. I'm going to
yeah,
share your
that's
win for
cool.
you.
Yeah, I saw him. He's in the back, literally in the back seat
Good.
with the thumbs up. Okay.
And he was just texting me. He just got on Google Local Services. We launched a Google review campaign, and he's telling me that he is just getting flooded with new leads calling him. It's allowing him to be pickier about the jobs that he's taken. And so just super excited. Brand new client, only a couple of weeks, but so excited for what's going to happen.
Awesome job, Diego. As he's dropping off the kids, literally, I just saw him shut the van door. That is so
Come
cool.
on.
Way to go, man. Yeah, Google Local Services, it can make a difference. And speaking of which, Redmond Growth clients, we've got some really cool new things that we're going to be doing for you guys as it relates to Google Your Business, Google Local Services, just better stuff to get you better results with no additional charge. Mr. Kane is going to be helping us with that quite a bit. We're really excited about it. Okay, I just want to get into it here. If again, we just like hearing your wins, so maybe next time, just think about. I know we're busy, but think about the good stuff that's happening. And just remember, I'll give you a special treat if you share in the group call. Okay, right? Does anyone want some Oreos or something? No. That's literally what the kids ask me for. They're like, "Bring me birthday cake Oreos." I'm like, "Okay." Like, thank you for sharing. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. And by the way, I'm looking, so like when I look this way, I'm looking at all you guys. So just please know that, first of all. I've got like my slideshow up here, but I want to like see everybody. Okay, so like just know that I'm looking at everybody. Okay. Um, okay. Yes, I want to continue. Sorry. Zoom was asking me a question that was a little bit complex. Okay, can everyone see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a topic that doesn't really sound sexy, outlines. We're going to be talking about a proven sales appointment outline. And I'm want to get into the specifics for what that looks like, what we recommend doing for a service company. So if you're in home services, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, handyman, any home services, I'm going to show you what that looks like, what a sales appointment outline should look like. If you're construction, remodeling, if you're a contractor, I'm going to be showing you what that looks like. There's a lot of similarities, but two different processes here. But we're going to be talking about the importance of making sure that whenever we're going in to meet with a customer, we call that a prospect, right? They haven't given us money yet. They're not actually a customer. They're a lead. We book an appointment. We're going in. We're making sure that our team is as prepared as possible to close that deal. There's a lot of things that go into that, but what we want to leave with the customer is the impression that these guys are sharp, they understand me, I like interacting with them, I trust them and trust their company, and even though they might be charging me a higher price than the next guy in town, than the next estimate I get, I want to go with these guys, okay? That's what I'm going to be teaching everyone how to do this morning, how to leave that impression with your customer, okay? So first thing here, I want to give a quote from a guy. Anyone here of Zig Ziglar? Does that name sound familiar, Zig Ziglar? We got some Zig Ziglar people. Zach knows Zig Ziglar. Zach, what do you know about Zig Ziglar?
I'm sorry. I thought that was a funny question. I'm not laughing at Zach. Just
No,
my disclaimer here.
Dude, you're driving. He's like I'm like putting him on the spot. He's like in a car, like, how do I get the mute button off? Okay, so Zach knows about Zig Ziglar. I know about Zig Ziglar. You should know about Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was one of the best sales trainers of all time. Okay, my grandfather is actually a speaker. He did a lot of business stuff, a lot of like ministry stuff, but got to speak with Zig Ziglar, and he has this awesome quote. Okay, that kind of captures what we're talking about today. Success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. How many of you guys know that to be true? Success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. Guys, I don't want to get preachy with you this morning, but I'm going to, okay? Every single day, there are so many opportunities that you and your team has called leads, called customers. And many of you are investing good money into our program, Redmond Growth, and you're investing good money into your marketing, into your ad spend. And kind of an uncomfortable message, some of us, and I have done it too, I've done it both for Redmond Growth and for the remodeling company that me and a buddy started up in Seattle, Washington. I have spent good money on getting leads and then sending people to manage those leads, to manage those prospects who are really not prepared. And then what I do is I play this game where I invest more into my marketing because I think, well, if I can get more leads, I can close more deals. All the while, my closing rate doesn't improve. I'm spending more and my profits are going down. Why is that happening? It's because I'm doing all the right things marketing wise, and I'm not even looking at the more important thing, which is being prepared for that sales call, okay? So I want to ask everyone, are you prepared for your success? I want you to ask yourself that question. when you're going to every lead, are you fully prepared? Do you have that process down? Does your technicians know how to interact, what questions to ask, how to showcase your company, how to sell using a one sheet? Are we going there hoping that we're going to close that deal, hoping that the technician isn't going to mess it up like he did the last time? You know, hoping that, if we're hoping, we're not prepared, okay? So is this message for you today? I want to ask you guys a question. How many people in here today could tell me every specific step of their sales process whenever they're in front of a customer? Okay, the only hand I saw raised was Bridget. Bridget, you raise your hand. Luckily you volunteered, and luckily you get a snack. Okay.
I can't wait to see how this goes.
Okay. Well, I love the support. Are you Matt K of Matt K Roofing's company?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Matt. I love the support there. I can't wait to see how this goes. And I know you meant that sincerely, because he's like, I can't wait to see how this goes. She knows our sales process so well. Okay. So Bridget, do you want to share? What's your sales process?
Well, I'm the first person that interacts with the customer if they're calling. So like I always say, I tee it up for Matthew to hit a home run. So I hear the customer's needs.
Beautiful.
And I just basically listen and adapt and respond to what they need. So a lot of it right now is roofing. So we have a grant program going on in Louisiana. So I basically give as much information. Our motto and what we've learned from Redmond, even though we've been away for a couple weeks, is I want to give them confidence to make a sound decision with us. So I'm not going to fluff anything. I give them all the information. I follow up with emails, and I make them feel very comfortable, because I'm not hiding the wool. I'm telling them exactly what the grant program consists of, our warranty, what we offer, why we offer it, what shingles we use, why we use this company. And every single person, because we've been dealing with like a very high influx of calls, have given us positive feedback of no other company has told us any of this information. So I have more of the approach of I want to educate them so that they feel comfortable and confident on what they're going to pay for. And we're not selling them anything. I'm just telling them about what we do. So,
boom! Oh, that is like a notable quotable right there. Yeah, I'm not selling them on anything. I'm just telling them what I heard you say. I'm just telling them what we do. What I heard behind that you didn't necessarily say at all. What we do, who we are. I'm having full transparency. So I heard a lot of good stuff in what Bridget just said. She said, the first thing she said is she assesses their needs. That's big. We're going to be talking about that. She said that we go in there with confidence, right? That's big. We're going to be talking about that. Okay. She's talked about how she wants to be transparent with the customer. This is all really solid. Okay. The only challenge I'd have for Bridget and Matt is, do we have this process documented to the point where we know it, and we can like go in there almost like with an outline where we're leading the customer and ask them every single question, right? Anyone else? I'm sorry, you guys may be like, yes, we do. And I'm like, no, you can't share. No, I'm just kidding. Anyone else? Kenneth, did you raise your hand, buddy? You kind of like half raise your hand. I feel like people are like getting a little nervous here, okay? Like maybe this is you right here, right? Anyone else not nervous? Anyone else not sharing the same emotions as these emojis? Kenneth, what's your sales process, buddy? Just high level.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of do the same thing. I'm big on educating the client, and they love that, really. And a lot of times they're thrown back because not everybody walks in trying to educate your client. But it all goes back down to what your response was do I have it documented? And that's the part where I don't. Right.
Okay.
So,
I love the transparency, and that's just an opportunity here. Okay. There's an opportunity to help, opportunity to increase something. So, okay, it sounds like this message is for everyone here, right? So the first step that I want to be talking about in building a sales process is building rapport, right? Do we all know what rapport is? Have we heard that term, rapport? Yes, no? Build rapport, okay? The first thing that we want to do is build rapport with the customer before worrying about the scope of work, before getting into the nitty gritty with them, okay? You got to remember, like, you guys are going into a total stranger's home most of the time. You're meeting with a total stranger. This person's never met with you. Like the home is like their safe zone, right? People are nervous. People are like, hey, can I trust this person? Yeah, I saw the reviews. Yeah, I saw their website. Yeah, they look good. Rapport, all we're trying to do is make the person feel comfortable. How do we make the person feel comfortable? Well, there's some techniques you can use, right? First thing is mirroring and matching. Okay, a lot of this comes from a book by a man named Chris Voss. He was like one of the lead FBI negotiators for a number of years, wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. And he talks about how like his job was to go in and rescue hostages without giving the like kidnappers the $1 million that they were asking for. Like he had to get the hostages safely and not give them the money. So a big technique that he talked about was mirroring and matching. Mirroring and matching is just very simply whatever state that the person is in that you're interacting with, you are reflecting that state back to them. Okay, it could be their tone, it could be their body language, making them feel more comfortable, right? It could be common experiences, just talking with people about shared experiences, active listening. Another technique from this book that I just mentioned, try repeating just the last 3 words that they say, right? Here's a really helpful acronym, for rapport, okay? FORE, for rapport. Okay, that's family, occupation, recreation, entertainment. Okay, you can just ask them, hey, you see a picture of their family. Hey, beautiful family. Okay, how many kids you got? That's awesome. Hey, by the way, what do you do for a living? Hey, I saw that you had golf clubs laying by the front door. Like, where do you play around here? I like to play too. Like, hey, I saw that you're a fan of the UCLA Bruins. Okay. I'm a fan of them too. We have a big season ahead of us. Think we can beat USC? I know Robert hopes we can. So just find something in common, right? Build a relationship with the customer. Find something in common with the customer. We're wanting them to feel comfortable. Talk about the quality of their home, their neighborhood. Talk about their car in the front driveway. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just talk about something is like, I'm giving you all these techniques, but the important thing is like, just actually try, like, I don't care if you're an introvert, extrovert, whatever, just actually try to build a relationship with someone. Like, if you are meeting a stranger and like you're on an airplane or whatever and you're like sitting next to somebody, like, how does that conversation happen? You just like start talking to them. Hey, where are you flying next? Where are you from? Oh my gosh, like, what do you do for, oh, you're there for a work trip? What do you do? Oh, that's really cool. Here's what I do. And now a whole conversation starts. And now you guys are leaving the plane ride, best friends. Right? Other hobbies, okay? The concept here is this. People will buy from people that they like and trust. You guys have to remember that. You have to teach your team that. People will buy from people they like and they trust. Bridget earlier was saying something about this. She wants to go and just tell the customer how it is, full transparency, full vulnerability. That is a really good thing. Why? Because that's building trust with the customer. And if that customer trusts you, if they say, hey, this is my person, like, I feel like they're telling me what it is, they're giving me examples that I can trust them, they will buy from you. It may not come natural, but it works. How do you get the person to trust you? Tell them about your background. Tell them about your credibility. Tell them about your qualifications. Why are you the person to trust? Do the same thing with your company. Tell them about the company background, qualifications, credibility. Why is your company the one that you should be working with? We're going to get more into this here, okay? Let's talk about building your outline. And what I'm literally telling you guys here, when I say build your outline, I'm literally saying, like, get a sheet of paper and like write down every step of your process. Like, ideal scenario, like, how should that process go? I'm going to show you what that should look like, okay? So I'm going to give you like the outline that works right now. This will allow you to close more deals, okay? So here we go. So this is for service companies. If you are a service company, Here's the approach you should take based upon some of what we share. Okay, how many service companies do we have, by the way? Plumbers, okay. Air guys, heat and air guys, okay. Whoa. Okay, time out. Okay, building your outline, service companies. First thing is this, we talked about rapport just now. How do you build rapport as a service company? Okay, this is proven, it works. This is proven training. It's taught by the greatest like service companies in the world. This is where this comes from, okay? Number one, have your technician or yourself talk about their background and experience. This doesn't happen with most service companies. Technician knocks on the door. Hey, heard you had some problems with the water heater. I'm here from Joe's Plumbing. Can I take a look at it? Customer says, goes right in. The technician's walking around with a big tool bag. They're kind of just looking around. They go straight to the water heater and they just start tinkering. You know, that's like pretty much the basic process for most people. Imagine if your technician went in there and said, and literally just took over the conversation and said, hey, my name is Bob from Joe's Plumbing. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my background and my experience. I know it's not every day you have like a plumbing technician in your home. First off, I've been in the plumbing trade for about 20 years. I'm licensed with XYZ, and I've been dealing on the residential side of plumbing for however many years, right? And then he goes into, and let me tell you a little bit about my company. You know, Joe's Plumbing, you may have noticed this, but we have over 500 five-star Google reviews. We're confident that you can get a 5-star experience with us today. You're gonna love working with us because on any of the work I do today, you have a 1-year warranty with us, and bam, 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 bam. So they just go in there and say, they just take over the conversation. Instead of just like mindlessly like following the customer to the job, we're going in there and we're saying, hey, here's my background, here's my experience, here's what makes me qualified. Let me tell you about my company. You made a good decision today, here's why, right? So that's how you build rapport. It's just by talking about you, your background. Customer's gonna start asking the technician conversations. They're gonna start asking, or questions. They're gonna start asking you questions. And bonus, what we just talked about, talk about stuff that you notice that's interesting, right? Okay, the next thing here, what does this type of job entail and why is it important? Okay, Bridget also mentioned this a moment ago. We want to educate the customer. Here's the image that you want to have in your mind. If you are a service technician, that means you had to go through an apprenticeship, right, for a number of years. That means you had to get training. That means you had to go through testing. Like, the customer knows zero about what you know about the most important like forms of infrastructure in their home, like plumbing systems, gas lines, heating and air systems, electric systems. Customer knows nothing about it. Okay? So you are the expert, act like it. The image is like you are a doctor. When you go into a doctor's office, most of the time, and the doctor says, here's what I recommend you do, it's not like you're like questioning the doctor, typically. I mean, you may ask questions, but it's not like, no, that's wrong. I don't need an operation. I don't need chemo for my cancer. You know, like, I don't want to make it like political or controversial here today, but like, there's an inherent trust you have for a guy who went to medical school for 8 years, right? That customer, you can tap into that same effect with your customer. And here's what I mean. Get technical with the customer. Don't mince words. Thoroughly explain the details of what's happening. This will build your credibility and trust. If you can get a customer in, hey, let me walk you through a little bit of what's going on here. Explain the full scope of like everything that's happening related to the problem, they are going to trust you, right? So we want to educate the customer. We want to go with them and say, hey, here's the what this job entails. Here's why this is important. Here's why we need to address this, and just be brutally honest, open and technical with them, okay? Second thing here, or third thing here, what are the consequences and ramifications of not performing the job? Again, oh my gosh. Ryan, I love you, dude. I just noticed you're on the treadmill. I like literally just noticed that. That is freaking awesome. This guy is like, he's like going double time. Like he's like building his mind as he's like building his body. That's cool. Okay, you inspire me, Ryan. Okay, what are the consequences and ramifications of not performing this job? Just transparently tell the customer, here's why we need to do what we need to do. Like if there's risk involved, if it's going to lead to greater levels of damage in the future, if it's going to destroy some other more expensive component that you're working on, right? Like just go over with them the consequences and ramifications of not performing the type of job well. Explain to the customer that, hey, like addressing this is not a nice to have service. If this is not addressed, here are the real consequences that will transpire. And another thing I'm big on, don't use like scare tactics, like be truthful. Like being truthful is enough. Like you are a technician, go in there and explain, here's what's happening and here's what we need to do and when we need to do it, or else this will happen. Just explain that, right?
And this is something that I just want to spend a second on here. When I go over a sales process with my clients, especially my service guys, you know, my plumbers, electricians, HVAC, they're always like, well, Nicole, this is what makes us different than like the big chains out there. The big is we're not sales guys. We're not like cheesy sales guys. We're technicians. Every single person on your team is a salesperson. And there is a way of going about it that you are not coming across salesy. You're not the used car salesman. It is your job to be able to present the value that your company brings to the customer. And it's not just the responsibility of the business owner. It's not just the responsibility of the person answering the phone, but it's the responsibility of every single team member that gets in front of the customer or speaks to the customer. And so I know that you're going to get pushback from your techs when you try to implement a sales process with them. They don't want to be sales guys. We have to teach them have a documented system so that they can feel confident in presenting the value that they bring without coming across as that cheesy sales guy.
Yeah, and Nicole, I'm so glad that you said that because this process, there's two things I want to share. When you implement this process with technicians, it allows them to be a technician. They don't have to learn how to be a salesperson. They can just be who they are. They can be who they're trained to be. And that's what makes them a good salesperson. Is we don't want to go in there and be like, hey, here's my slick back hair and used car salesman personality. Let me sell you this water heater. All we're doing is going in there with the training, with the experience, with everything that that technician already has. And we're just making sure that we're following a format to educate the customer in a way that brings value to them. That's all this is. So we're telling them the technician's background and experience. We're telling them the company's unique value. We're telling them what this all entails in the job and what's going on and why is it important. We're telling them like, hey, here's what's going to happen if we don't address this. And then we're just telling them why we choose that our company. Here's why you should choose us. Make sure this is like where the one sheet comes in. This is where like your unique value comes in. Give them a strong reason to choose your company, okay? If you don't have those reasons, if you don't know those reasons, if you're thinking to yourself, what would my techs tell my customers about my company? This is your opportunity to figure that out. Like you need to know this. And I promise you, every single one of you in here have reasons of why a customer should choose you over everyone else. And we can help you figure that out. Your coach can help you figure that out, right? Go over to financing options. This is like a big thing. Like you're going into customers' homes, like it's going to be probably in a lot of cases, like over $1,000, you know, over $500. That's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? We want to go over what financing options do we have available. Let the customer know, hey, no one expects to pay these types of repairs out of pocket, and acknowledge the headache of paying for work like this, but also let them know that you have options available so that you don't have to think of a large price tag. Instead, hey, we can get this solved today for as low as $100 a month for the next 12 months, you know, whatever that may be, right? Let them know that there's options available. And then the last thing here is always give the customer options. If you're a service company, how many of you guys are like big on this, giving the customer options? One.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, Jacob.
Jacob works with me, by the way, so we actually haven't talked about that. I'm going to give him credit.
Jacob, real quick, can you talk to me about, you said, yep, absolutely. So you get this. Why is it important to offer options?
Well, number one is because there's a difference in price between option A and option B. Number two is, the benefits they're going to get between, I guess, all right, this product's going to do this and this product's going to do this. And, not everybody understands all the technical aspects, and some people just want it simplified. Some people want the next level up. So, every customer is going to be different.
That's so good. Every customer is going to be different. So we want to be sure to give a minimum of 2, but ideally 3 options at 3 different price points. Okay, it's the classic good, better, best setup. You know why like the world's biggest companies do this? Like has anyone bought software recently? If anyone's bought software recently or any type of like subscription service or anything, you probably ran into this. Why did you run into this? Because it works. Because you can close more customers and close customers at higher price points that you didn't think you would close people at if you do this. There are people out there that when they see a best option, it doesn't matter what you think, like when you judge, like you kind of like are sizing a customer up, like, okay, I see their car and house. You can only have a certain amount of money. Like there's a lot of situations where those people are actually like rich, like they got stacks and they can buy the best option because they just want the most thorough, the most comprehensive, the best product that you would have never had the opportunity to sell them if you didn't offer it. And then the people that are saying no to you, if you have like, hey, we could do this, it's a repair option, it's temporary, it's not necessarily recommended, but it could fix the problem today. Like something you may have not offered in the past because it's not like as thorough. Like they'll say, yes, I'll do that. I don't have a lot of cash right now. Like I just need this fixed. We always want to, you will close more deals. You will close more deals at higher price points with 3 options, right? So we build rapport through credibility. We go over the details of this job, what it entails. We talk about the consequences and ramifications of not performing the job. We tell them why they should choose us, the financing we have available, and the options that they have. And then we just sit back, just say, what option would you like? And like I did earlier, when I asked you guys for wins, you just don't say anything. And then Jacob will speak up, right? Someone will, like the customer will talk, the customer will choose, they'll ask a question. Like you just sit back, don't say anything, just let them choose. Okay, this works, okay? We'll give you access to this presentation in case you didn't copy all this down. But something I would encourage you, if you don't have a sales appointment outline like written down, just like literally copy this and build it for your company, okay? Okay, second thing here, remodelers and construction. Okay, same type of thing, build rapport. How do you build rapport if you're a remodeler or construction? Do we have any like remodeling or construction general contractors in here? Okay, Ryan, are you able to talk? I want to hear from you. Like if you're huffing and puffing, bro, it's okay, but.
I'm good.
Okay, he's good. He's the man. Okay, Ryan, how do you build rapport?
Pretty much the same thing you guys were talking about. When we do the vetting process over the phone, we're running the script that you guys provided for us, kind of tailored it obviously to what we do. And so my office manager sort of probes on quite a few different questions, gets me some good information before we even go out to the house.
Good.
Obviously pre-qualifying the client,
right.
Hey, this is what the typical bathroom costs for us after they've gone through this sort of meet and greet, and what do you guys need? And then setting the budget expectation before I even go out there and waste my time. Hey, our typical bathrooms range anywhere from $18,000 to $22,000. Are you comfortable with that? And
That's
then we
good.
can then we can book the appointment. So to build the rapport, I sort of just get the information that she's given and that the customer's given her. And sort of when I'm out there, I just regurgitate everything that they told us on the phone.
That is
So
brilliant. Yeah. So Ryan's showing up prepared. He's showing up, and the customer is like, "Oh my gosh, I like this guy. I trust him because like I didn't talk to him before, but he like knows about my project. He knows what I'm wanting to do, and like that's gonna be better than like any other just remodel or a contractor that's coming in there, right?" And so how you build rapport. Here's like a very great super move if you're in construction. It's called get the vision. Okay? Customers love when you ask them this because like they want to talk about what they want to do, right? I learned this move. My uncle, he's a very successful remodeler up in Washington. And this is like his super move. He'll go in and he'll start the conversation and he'll ask the customer, "Hey, I just wanted to start by getting a vision for your project. Like not just I don't want to just know what you want to do. Like what are you wanting to do and why are you wanting to do it? Like is this a family like that wants to like host gatherings? Their kids are in school involved, they want to have friends over, they want to have like a new kitchen where the whole family can come together and people can interact. You know, is this like my parents? Like my parents recently spent a lot of money redoing our backyard. They built like this big, you know, porch area, and they built like fire pits and a fireplace and all this other stuff. And like the whole reason why is very simply like my mom wanted to have her kids over to like hang out and like have a good spot to hang out outside and like all the family be together. Like that was like she's working with a contractor, but that's what she's really wanting, you know? So start by getting a vision for the project. Really go deep with the customer. What are you wanting to do and why? How do you see yourself using this space in the future? Like this will build rapport fast. You know, how long have you been wanting to do this? Like what will this newly designed space give you? Like what are you wanting to really take away from this? If you're a construction remodeler going to a resident's home and you ask these questions, they will love you because no one else has asked. And this is what it's all about. This is the only reason why you are there is because they want to do something with that space. They want to experience an emotion with that space that they can't experience. They've been wanting to do this for a long time. They've been planning, they've been waiting, they've been saving. And no one has even asked them why they want to do it and what they want to do it for. Start using this on your next projects and watch what happens. Just do it. You're like, well, Robert asked me to do this. I'm going to try it. So what's your vision for the project? And go deep. Ask them these questions. Why are you wanting to use this space? How long have you been wanting to do this? Watch what happens to that conversation, right? If you don't close that customer, let me know, okay? If you ask these questions and you don't close that customer, let me know. I'll give you a snack, okay? Because you walk me through the area of where you're wanting this done, right? Having them actually walk through, you're visualizing it with them, right? That's how you build rapport if you're remodeling or construction, right? Then what do you do after that? You just get the basics to make an estimate, okay? Hey, let's talk about materials. Let's talk about moving walls. Let's talk about the design. You know, are you wanting us to design? Do you have a design? Or you want to work with a third party? You know, what appliances, if we're doing, you know, like a kitchen or a bathroom, you know, hey, are we needing new appliances? You just ask the best basics to make an estimate, right? The questions that you guys already know as professionals to ask. Then you get the gold, okay? How do you get the gold? Who wants the gold? I want the gold. How do you get the gold? Getting the gold, before I go on, what does this mean? Getting the gold means you are asking them the questions that will allow you to close that job. Okay? Literally, you're asking certain questions and the customer's response, the response to their questions will show you what you need to sell them on. Okay, that's the goal, right? Here are the questions. What are your expectations for us working in and out of the home? I promise you, none of your competitors are asking that. You ask a customer that, and they're going to start telling you, well, I'm really wanting someone who shows up on time, gives me a heads up, stays in communication with me, and you're like writing that stuff down as they're talking. And then when you go to like tell them about your company, you tell them like, hey, one of the great things about us, you mentioned earlier that you want a company that like stays in communication. Like before at the job site, at the beginning of every day, we're going to let you know who's coming out there, what they're doing. Then at the end of the job site, I'm going to send you a recap of how that day went. Like whatever that is, it gives you an opportunity to address it. Hey, you mentioned earlier, blah, 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 blah. That's the goal. Okay. What's the most important thing you're looking for in a contractor? Is it price? Is it trust? Is it timeliness, quality? Right? It's probably a combination of those things. They're going to tell you, this is what I want, which then allows you later to say, you mentioned this. Okay, you're getting the goal. What's the ideal budget range that you're looking to stay in? Okay, Ryan kind of talked about that question earlier. Really good qualification question to ask before you're there. Hey, we typically do stuff in this range and that range. Is that like are we even in the same universe here? Like, don't show up to customers' houses that are like, like, I want this kitchen remodel and I have a $2,500 budget, like that's not going to work. Okay. Here, sometimes customers can get uncomfortable with this question. So here's how I recommend framing the question. Ideal budget range you're looking to stay in. So frame it like this. Hey, when we ask this question, sometimes people get uncomfortable because they think like we're trying to ask them how much we can charge them. I want to make sure that the estimate I give you is within your expectations and is within like the goals that you're looking to achieve with this project. So when I ask you this question, I'm just wanting to make sure that I can better serve you and get this done for the price point that you want it done at. Okay, people won't give you pushback to the budget question when you frame it that way, right? How we work. Okay, we want to review the rest of the process from proposal to starting a job. Let them in the know, educate them. This is what Bridget was talking about earlier. Educate them, give them all the details, the transparency. Hey, here's how we work. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's how we do those things. Here's how we work with customers. Here's how we work with our subs. Just tell them how you work. Next thing, explain in full transparency how you create your estimates and how you charge. Explain when and how much payments are due. Hey, here's how we create an estimate. Here's what goes into our estimate. Just give them the details. Why choose us? That's when you use your one sheet. You guys do these steps, you remodelers, your construction guys, you do these steps and you're going to leave wowing your customers. Like, I'm giving you the process, this works, I am doing this. Like, I am doing this in a remodeling environment right now. Okay, this stuff works.
If you don't know what a one sheet is, we do have a group call about it and how to present your value. And we also have videos on how we will help you create your one sheet, but we literally have videos that walk you through it. And so if you need that information, just ask your coach and we'd be happy to get it over to you.
Yeah, a one sheet is just a one-page marketing document that shows your customers why they should choose you specifically compared to most of what other people are out there. So it's like, hey, here's what we do differently, and allows you to like visually show the customer what you do differently. Here's the biggest thing. I need everyone to remember this. If this is the only thing you remember, it's the most important thing. Set a time with the customer when you're on the first appointment to review the proposal. Here's the benefit of that. Number one, if you're a remodeler or construction person, you need to put a deadline on yourself to get that done, because we all know how much we've pushed estimates back and we've lost deals because of it. Put a deadline on yourself. I did this last week with my partner in Seattle. We had these 2 bids that we had to get out and he needed some help with it. And I said, tell the customer you're going to review it with them Friday afternoon. And you know what that did? That caused us to get everything done by Friday afternoon. Right? So that's the first thing, is put a deadline on yourself so that you don't, like, your estimates don't stack up and you're coming to the office on like Monday and you're like, I need to do 40 estimates. That's the first reason. The second reason is never just firing off an email to your customer with an estimate and just like cross your fingers hoping that they're going to accept it. if you're doing a remodel like a project, this is going to probably be one of the largest investments that the customer has ever put in their home besides when they bought their home. Like it's going to be a lot of money, right? And just sending them an estimate with no explanation and no detail that's worth tens of thousands of dollars, like doesn't work. Like people see it, they immediately have questions. He's overcharging me. We didn't need this, we didn't need that. If you set a time, it allows you to say, hey, I'm going to send you a proposal. Let me walk you through it. Now you can answer questions. Now you can explain certain parts of the estimate. Now you can end that by saying, hey, we have this day available. Would you like to get started? Rather than like hoping, oh, I haven't heard back from the customer. Do you think we'll hear back? No. Maybe I should send them a text. No, don't play that game. You're wasting your money. Okay, you're losing deals. Set a time to review. Okay. At the end of the day, when it comes to your sales appointment and outline, just do what works. If you have like a star salesperson on your sales team and they like kill it, and you're like, I don't know how to make a sales appointment outline, sit that star salesperson down and say, I want to go through each step of your process. Like, what do you do that works so well? Build that process out. If you as an owner knows what works, if you're like, hey, I can sell, but none of my other people can, I'm the stud. You know, what do you do? Like, what makes you a stud? Like, write that down, train your team in it, and do it. Do what works, okay? Practice and confidence, 3 really quick things. First thing you're selling is your confidence. If you're not confident in your product or service or your price, your customer will not be either. We cannot sell out of our own wallet. We cannot make judgments and say, hey, you know, they don't look like they have a lot of money, so I'm not gonna sell them I'm gonna sell them this like cheap option, all right? Ongoing training, more practice, more confidence. Don't expect your people to ever do this well if you don't train them in it. You gotta do it ongoing, right? Document your process. At the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. Put it on a piece of paper. Train your team in it. It needs to be tangible in order for your team to follow it. We have 2 examples of that for remodelers, right? It's the process I just talked about, right? So here's all the questions. Here's like the entire process that I just talked about. If you're like a plumber, here's like an example of how to sell repipes. So like, why choose us? You know, here are the reasons why you should choose us. So anyway, okay, I want to get into breakout rooms. Yet again, I did not leave us with a lot of time.
What we could do, Robert, is we could post the questions in the chat and have people write down, so we probably won't have time for discussion.
Let's do that.
Okay, so I'm going to post these questions in the chat. What I want each one of you to do, whether you are writing it down on a piece of paper or if you are writing it on your agenda, please put it somewhere that you are going to see it again. And so I am adding these questions. If you need a little bit more time to answer them, you can take a photo of them and answer them later. You can copy and paste them on the agenda and then put your answers underneath. But the first question here is, what is your current average closing rate? If you're filling out your KPI tracker, you should be able to find it there. And so I want you to write that down. If you do not know it, let's challenge ourselves to start tracking that and knowing that better. Second question, who is the best at sales on your team? Even if it's you, it's okay. Put that down. Who is? And then 3, what is your current process during a sales appointment? It's okay if this is ugly. We just want you to vomit that process onto a piece of paper, and then you and your coach can sort through it and start really building a process from there. Really challenge yourself to sit down and get that onto paper. 4, does the best person on your team do anything that's not on the sales appointment outline? Let's share the wealth. Let's share the wisdom. What are they doing that is leading them to more success than everybody else? And then last but not least, 5, do you train and hold your team accountable to the sales appointment outline? How do you know if they're following it? If you do not have a documented system, I guarantee you everybody's doing something different. And if you're not holding them accountable to using it, I guarantee you they are all still doing something different. And so we have to have that set time to train. So put your answers on the agenda, take a picture of this if you need it, so that you can discuss it with your coach when you guys are approaching the sales process.
Yeah, and the reason why we're asking these questions is we're trying to highlight, in accordance to like what we talked about today, like the biggest area of growth for your guys' sales process right now. I'm telling you guys that think that you have a marketing problem. Before you think you have a marketing problem, make sure that you've done all that we've talked about, okay? That you've done your due diligence on solving your sales problem. You may be saying to yourself like, hey, I need more leads, when the real thing is like, you have plenty of leads. You just need to increase your close rate. You just don't have a good sales process. You just maybe not have a sales process. There's nothing wrong with it. We didn't have a sales process for a long time. Like we had to write it down ourselves, you know? And so that's what the purpose of these questions are. You know, what's everyone's average closing rate? Why are we asking that? Because if you don't know it, that's something you need to know. How can you know how well your sales are doing if you don't know how many deals that you're closing on average compared to how many leads you're getting, right? Who is best on your sales on your team? Reason why we're asking that question is because we want to identify what works and who is the best and what's making them the best, so that we can train other people on it. What is your current process during a sales appointment? We're trying to find out, do you have a process? Do you really know it? Is that written down? Does the best person on your team do anything that's not on the sales appointment outline? This is a very common thing. It's like, yeah, I've got a sales appointment outline, but I still got a guy who's the best. Well, he might be doing stuff that might be an opportunity to improve that outline, right? Then do you train and hold your team accountable to the sales appointment outline? How do you know if they're following it? This question is just more of a, hey, self-reflection question. Like, it's great if you have one. How do you know if they're doing it? How do you know if it's being followed? It's an opportunity for you to lean into that, okay? Okay, well, I appreciate you guys for being here today. If you have any additional questions, reach out to your coach, schedule a laser call, do what you need to do. Real big things can happen from implementing this, okay? Again, this is something we like really harp on as a team, and for some reason it keeps on getting, like people like see it and then they like leave it. It's like, oh yeah, sales process, but I don't really need it. I need to market. Build your sales process. You will close more deals because of it. Have confidence, have courage. Whenever you are doing something different, it's going to be uncomfortable. And that is a signature of your growth. Embrace that discomfort, okay? Use this as an opportunity to grow, because you will get better results as a result of this. So, okay, I appreciate everyone for being here today. I'm going to lead us out. On the count of 3, we say growth. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. After I say 1, I want everyone to say growth. It's so cheesy, but I'm going to give everyone snacks if they say it, okay?
I'm going to have a lot of clients asking about snacks.
Yeah, we're going to send you snacks, okay? Okay, if everyone can unmute their mics, okay? Unmute your mic, all right? Embrace the cheesiness. 3, 2, 1, growth!
Growth!
Yes, thank you guys.
Thank you.